Hello and welcome to Google Sites Training. My name is Carl Manganero, and I'm going to walk you through how to make up a Google site for your classroom and then possibly how to use it for assessment purposes as well, especially if you're a school that's going remote or doing a hybrid model. So the first thing you'll need to do is when you go into your Google Sites, into your Google Suite, you go up to the little waffle and you'll find Google Sites up there. Click on that and it should open you to this page. There is a possibility that you might open to the old Google Sites. There will be a little button on the left-hand side, a little text that says New Google Sites. Click on that and you'll get to this page. They recently just added a template gallery. So that was something new. It should be on everybody's. If you don't have it, don't worry, it will be. This is something for beginners if you need a little help on setting up your website. So you can go into any one of these or by clicking template gallery and it gives you a bunch of different ones, especially for education as well. So you have class, club, and student portfolio, which is one of the things we will cover. Now, while these are nice and it sets it up for you a little bit, I stay away from them because you're kind of stuck to use theirs. You want to build a Google site that fits you. These don't fit you. They're not made for you, but they are a good start. You can always start with one of these and then slowly start deleting things you got from here. Especially if it's a color issue, they do start with a certain theme. And I can show you how you can change that theme to make the Google site more just for you. So if you do want to start a website, first thing you're going to do is you will start from, if you're going to start from scratch, you start with a blank page. So just by clicking on this blank page, it will start up a website for you that you can fill out. Now you can see they are all hosted in your sites. They'll also be in your drive. And in here you see some of the ones that I've created. I mean, you can create ones from student. This is a template I took out of here. I just gave a Google Sites course. So some of the people who just took that course that we offered just finished today. I took all their sites out. And in each one, I put in a site, their site, the website, the parent communication side, the assessment side. So people can go who took this course and see what everybody else did in the course. Being that it was a 2-week online course, you don't get to see other people and what they do. So I make sure, all right, you finished yours. We gave you grades on it and told you how to fix it. But here are some other ones, and so you can get some more ideas. All right, so we want to go in and create a site. Now, you want this site to fit the age that you're doing it for. You want this site to maybe show your personality, your class, what you're teaching. So there are a lot of good things you can get out of this. I have to tell you, if you're going to take stuff from Google Images, things like that, just be careful with the copyright issue. You are more than welcome to put in pictures of yourself, of things from your house or, whatever you want, or from your classroom. That's more than fine. So what we're going to do is start from scratch and build up a website. I'll just give you a couple of examples of some sites that I've done through the RIC. So what you want to do is you're going to build a site that looks like this, and you can take a Google site and really, it does have limits on some of the things you can do, but you can make a site that people, if they look at it, don't realize it's a Google site. Obviously, on this end, you can, but if I was to go and preview this, it's like I'm going to any website using Wix, WordPress, whatever they have out there. And from here, I can click on things and go to certain things that I want to do. Does your site have to look like this? No. But this is something that you can do with Google Sites. Although it's limited, it can look very nice, and it's very user-friendly, and you'll see that. So let's get into seeing how a website can be built. I have a couple of videos I already did before the summer on Google Sites. We can send out links to that so you can watch more. I have a website that went over how to build a Google site, like the step-by-step, then how to use it as a parent communication. Then I did one as also a video on making assessments from Google Sites. So I will show you how to do a few things. I won't be able to get into everything because this is a 30-minute video and I want to get through as much stuff as I can in regards to building your website and also doing portfolios for it and assessments. So we start off with a blank slate. Now, you obviously want to give it a name, so we'll start it off right away by calling it Social Studies 9 or whatever you want to call it, ELA 1, Math, whatever the subject you have, and it'll automatically pop up here as well. Now, the first thing you can do if you want is to go in here and to see what this is all about. And with the navigation, you can have it right here on top, or you can choose the side, and it'll be right down here. Whatever your preference is, you can do with that. For the color, it could be transparent, so whatever's behind it is behind it, or you can come in and make it white, or you can make it black. And you notice the text will change on its own. And you'll notice that during the site, when you do change your background to a darker color, it will adjust with the text. And you'll see that in a little bit. Some of these other features you won't get into just yet. You can add a logo at some point and a favicon, which is this little thing right up here. Okay, that's all it really is. If you don't want, this by default will be the Google Sites favicon, but if you put your own in there, that'll show up when your site goes public. The announcement banner we'll get into in a little bit as well. So the first thing that I usually do is when I get in, I want to pick my theme. So I go over to the themes, and right now by default is on the first one. It's simple, it's a blue color, and it's on light font. You can't put your own fonts in here. Each theme has its own font, but you can't change it or add it. You can make it light, classic, or heavy, or bold. You can change the color, though. So if you want to go in and you say red's now your color, or whatever color you really want, that becomes your color. And that's important to know because instead of having a page of where it's just white all the way down, you might want to break it up with color. So, for example, if I put a text box in here and then I have another text box right below it, I may want to separate them. So I want to add that. So there's my yellow strip for that I can have. So, and you can only have one color by default. There is a trick, and I'll show you that in a little bit, of how you can add multiple colors to your site. All right. Also, images. Very simple to do. By just clicking on the image, you're allowed to add that. Before we get into images, though, here's the text. You have 5 choices. Normal text, title, which is the biggest, header, subheading, and you have small. Whatever you want in there. So if I was to say, let's use this for example. We'll take this one and drag it down. This is a title page. Kind of big, stands out. You don't have a lot in there. If you want it a little bit smaller, you can make it a header page. So that's the choices you have. If you have a lot of text, if you're writing a paragraph, you're better off just probably with a normal or subheading. Another thing you can do with the text is you can always make it smaller, the box, and move it around. So now you have room in here for something else. What else could I put in there? You go, you upload, and I'll take this one here. It comes in. There's my image. I can adjust the size, take it, and put it right there. If I think that's too long, I can try to make it even smaller so it matches up. All right, so that's some of the things you could do inside of a box with text and with pictures. You can also have full pictures. Again, we'll get into all that as well. Your next thing you have down here might just be, you know, saying your name. My name is. If I want to put that in the center, I just align it there. If I want to add bullets, all that stuff, I can even add a link to it, but we'll get into that as well. I can bold it so it comes out a little bit more noticeable, or I can just change it to a subheader and it makes it bigger. I can change it to a header. All right, so people can see it better. So those are some of the things you can do with text. Another way to just do text is really simple. You just click inside of a box here, and it opens up this. It's this right here, but now it's here. So really nothing too big. The one thing you can do from here that is not here is upload. Like here, you can do the same with an image, but you can also upload right from here as well, and it goes right to your computer. Okay. Where if you upload from the images, it'll give you a choice. So maybe that might be a little quicker, save you a second or so. All right, so now I can get into layouts. Now with layouts, you have the option here where you can put your picture, name, and description about you. If you're talking about introducing yourself to your kids, if you're doing like a subject or like different classes that you teach, and you teach 2 classes, you put it right here. You find a picture that fits what you teach, name, the name of the course, and a description down below. If you have multiple courses, you put something like this in. So a lot of different options you can do. And the nice thing is that if you go in and get a picture from here, it will put it in there and it will fit it in there. So if I was to go in and look for a Google search and I went for, let's say it's math class I'm looking for, take this image, and now it puts it in there. And I do the same thing here. I go in, select image. I want math again. Maybe a different picture. And I take this, and I put it in there. And then you just give it a title. Okay, if you want to link it to a certain page, that's something you can do. That gets a little more. We're starting off kind of simple right now. So right now I got a mess on my page, so I'll clean it up a little bit. Maybe things I don't need. Right now, if I take this page title and I want it to come back to be my big page title, I can do it right in here, make it bigger, make it a title, and then center it, and now it's back to being my title page again. This image here I can get rid of if I don't want it anymore. Okay, and so basically you kind of, and the nice thing is nobody will see this site until you publish it. So that's a nice thing. You make a mistake, fix it, go back. Your best friend sometimes is right up here called undo last action. All right, so next thing we're going to look at is some of these things we have down here. Image carousel basically will make you it's almost like a slider you see on websites where it just keeps putting videos in and they slide, the next one comes in. You can put those in there as well for your site. Down here we have the button is one I use a lot. I don't like having too many pages up here in the menu because if you start making more pages, you're going to have it all the way full. Then there's going to be a more button. You got to click, then it drops down. So I like to hide them, and I can show you how to do that. And I'll put a button in. And with the button, I just say, say I have another one that's called math problems. And I link it to one of the pages that I've already created, I can click that on. I can't click on it right now because I haven't made a page yet. I can't even do it. I could do it to this one here just for now. And I can link it to that. And then here's my button. And with a button, you can put it anywhere you want. You can put it right here, attach it to that. I can attach it to right here. You see how it takes the form if this is a big box. If I was to make this box smaller, that goes with it. Or I can just put it on its own. So this can adjust to whatever I want it to. See, and that's how it works with that. So a lot of different things you can do with buttons. And buttons just is a way that people know there are more pages. A lot of times I use icons or images. I put in there, I link them, but the button works just as good, and it's a lot easier to do. Trust me, than the icons. So sometimes icons will take a lot of work and trying to get it the right size and everything. So that is a little more difficult. The next thing I'm going to show you are Google Apps. Now you're going to like these because you don't have to do things double. If you've already done something, got a video on YouTube or got a Word doc or a slide, it's so easy just to put it right on here. There's one little trick that a lot of people don't do. Not really even a trick. It's just a step that you have to do in order for other people to be able to see that slide. And I'll show you that when we do it. So say, for instance, I want to put a YouTube video in, and we are talking about math problems. I get to a video. I type in, maybe I might know what the video is and where it is. I'll select it, and the video pops up right in there, ready for the kids to watch. You can adjust it, bigger or smaller. I mean, it doesn't really matter. If you don't like the black things, you just keep it on there. If you want to make it bigger so they see it, you can do it that way as well. Put it in the middle, whatever you want to do. All right, so that's how you add a YouTube video. That's very simple to do. A calendar. When you open it up, it's going to go to your calendars. So you just take your calendar, click on it, insert it, and there's your calendar. Kids can see all the different things they have to do. If you have a Google Calendar, put it right in here, and they see all their assignments. And you don't have to go into this to update it. It will update it when you update it in your calendar or in Google Classroom. So it's nice to have, and especially for parents to see, again, when assignments are due. Next, you have a Google Map. So anytime you want to know where you are, you can put it right in here, hit select, the Google Map comes in, it picks Rome. If you want it next to it, you put it right here, and now they're side by side. If you're me, they got to match because that's how I am. So now you have them back here, and they both match. This is nice for other assignments that you could do, but we'll get into that when we get into the assessment part. Anytime you want to post one of your Google Docs, you just go right into here, put it in. Now for this, I would probably make it a little bit smaller. I can put it right in here. And when I update the Google Doc with today is day 2, when I update it in the doc, it'll update on here. So again, saves you doing that double time thing that you have to do. Now, the only problem is you have to make sure in that Google Doc that you have it as a shareable link. If you're only going to share it with your students, then that link just needs to be everybody can see it or can view it in your domain, in your school domain. If you want parents to see it, you're going to have to make it shareable to everybody. Even though you shared your site to the public, that doesn't matter. They can see the site, but when they get to this little box, it's going to say request access, can't see it, okay? Then that makes parents are going to be emailing you saying, how come I can't see this document, or how come I can't see this slide? And it's the same thing for Google Slides. I go into any slide that I've done, put that in there, and there's the Google slide. Again, share it. You can actually even auto start it. So as soon as they get to it, it starts playing, and you can loop it and start that all off if you wanted to. And that can go right in here as well. So you have everything nice and organized. Of course, I have to move it down, and now we're set up. So I just embedded 5 things in there in a matter of less than a minute. It would have been less, but I kept talking. And this could be a website that your kids and parents could use. Could have all your information right there. Now, what you could then do is say, okay, now see, I want to break them up a little bit, so I'll put that yellow. And say like yellow is the only color I have, and I want something different. Maybe black. If you're a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, you'll want that. So what you need to do for that sometimes is you need to go in and either in PowerPoint or Word, take a box and put that color in the box, then do a screenshot or a snippet of that box. And now you can just actually take that as an image, and I'll show you what you can do. I have one here. It's not black though, but I believe it's gold. I click on that as an image. Now I have a gold background. So if that's all you have is a gold, so you notice how it does change it for readability? You can always go in and just unclick that and it brings it back to your original color. And if for some reason I'm like, okay, you know what? I do want my Pittsburgh Steelers colors. I'll just go here, and now I do have the black and gold. And there's also another, gray is another option you have as well. So you have plain white background, gray, your design, your theme, and then whatever other color you want. As long as you take a picture of it as that color, it'll come up as that color. All right, so that's pretty much the insert part of the things you can do between the text box, the layouts, and all the other buttons you have here. There are some other tricks, and I do have them in the other videos, so if you want to watch those, they are located on mooric.org/video, where you can go and see some more things on that. The last thing I'm going to go over as far as the website are pages, and I'll just do real quick. I want a new page. I put in here, and it's going to be, we'll just call it Math Problems, and there's my new page. And again, then I have to adjust it. And see how it's up here? If you want it up here and you know you're not going to have a lot of pages, that's fine. But if you are going to have a lot of sub-pages and pages, you might want to hide it. So you do have a choice here to hide this in navigation. And once I do that, now it's not there anymore. But you better make sure you link it on the front page or no one's ever going to find it. And you can add as many pages as you want. That's the beauty of it. If you want a subpage that's going to be underneath there, you would hit Add Subpage. That page will open up right under here, and you go from there. All right, so before we get into the assessment part, there is one thing I do want to show you, and that's when you publish the site, and then all of a sudden nobody can see it. So if I want to go into the site and hit Publish, I will go in here, and I'll give it a name. This is going to be what the first part of it is, and there's really not much you can do about it. You can get a domain, but we won't get into that. So I'm going to make this, and if you go something simple, that's usually the best. I want to do math because nobody in my district has made a math page. If it's taken, it'll tell you, and then you can go to, math work. All got to be one word. All right, so I publish it. So I published it. Doesn't mean anything. Right now, I'm the only one who can see it. So I want to go into here, and it gives me a couple options. I can share it with anybody I want. So if I want to share it with another teacher, and what I'm sharing with them is the site and how to edit the site. Down here where it varies, this is what I want to get into. The draft, you pretty much want to restrict the draft to yourself. Unless there's somebody who's going to be working with you, keep it to yourself. You don't want to have anybody with the link have your draft, because then they can go in and change it. If you're doing it with students and it's what you are planning on doing and you want them to go into it, that's different. But for the public to see it, right now, this site can only be seen by people in the Rome City School District. So that's like anybody in your school district. To make everybody see it, I have to go public with it. Once I go public and I send out the link, people then could go to that site and view it. So if you're going to make a site that's for your students only, you can keep it in the domain. If you're going to make it for the parents, then you're going to have to make it public. And also remember, every Google app that you also put in is also going to have to be made shareable, or they will not be able to see it. And what's going to happen is they're going to keep clicking on it to ask for to request access, and your email inbox is going to get bigger and bigger with the same email. So save yourself the trouble the first time. And you won't notice it because you can see it because it's yours. So what I do a lot of times, just to make sure I have things all shareable, I'll sign out of my domain, go to the actual site and see what I can get into and what I can't get into. All right, so that's how to make a Google site very quickly. I have other videos that go a little bit slower and show you some of the things step by step, but that's pretty much a way to set up your Google sites. Once you have one, it's very easy to maintain. You can do it once a week. You can just make it a static one where here's the information, and I'm not going to add anything else the rest of the year, but here's all the contact information. Or you can do it weekly, and some people will do it daily. But it's a nice twist because Google Classroom is what a lot of people use, and you can still use Google Classroom, but a lot of people want, this kind of breaks it up a little bit and you can add pictures and colors, and it makes it just a little bit easier on the eyes for the kids, especially if they've been going into Google Classroom quite a bit. So an example of an actual site that we use for training is this one here. And just to show you real quickly some of the things that we have on there, we have the picture that they wanted. Here's a Google form for if you want parents' emails. Your syllabus can go right here, your course description, your Google Classroom assignments. There's that daily announcement thing, another form, a calendar. There's a slide. You got the image carousel, so it'll go through a couple pictures. It can be small or it can be both. You can put in a video. And here's a little feature that you'll find on the parent communication one. It's a little ticker that you can do using Google Slides. If you get a chance to look at it on one of the other videos, it's actually a nice thing to have. You can keep having a ticker at the bottom of your screen. So this is the site. And again, make the site reflect you and how you want it, and you'll be fine. The only thing for me that is really important is that it's consistent. Things are kind of aligned. It doesn't have to be exactly like I align it, but you want to make sure things are aligned so it looks good and easy on the eyes. All right, so first thing I wanted to show you is an example of a writing portfolio done by a former colleague of mine, Heather Lamphere, who teaches in Richfield Springs. And she did this with her college writing course, and basically set them up to do their portfolio using Google Sites. And the kids jumped on it right away, and they really enjoyed the creativity of it. I've known a lot of people who are starting to have kids do research papers. And then for the final thing is to turn that research paper into a Google site to give it vision and give it, let people see more than just the words. So some teachers have used it as an alternative to a research paper. Some teachers are using it as a last step, the final thing for the research paper, but it is available for you here. And I'll just give you a couple of examples of some of the kids who did it. And she even was clear with this twice. One of the drawbacks of doing it this way is it's out there for people to see. But they all agreed to it and put it out there. And some of these kids came up with really nice sites. So this first one, how she had it set up is they basically had to do their introduction. They had to do an About Me page and where they live and where they have lived. So this first page pretty much is more of a biography of the student who's doing the portfolio. Then they had to make another page, and here was where they had to put all of their portfolios in. Informational, essay, literary, poetry. So they would take them and they would embed them using Google Docs right into here. So nothing fancy. They put it in. They put all their different all their information in. They had to take a break essay where they had to do the same thing, where they can write about anything. They really a prompt that they had and their prompt was there are two kinds of people in the world, and that's what they had to write on. And then they also had a class reflection at the end using Google Sites where they could do it using a video. So this was one way of getting assessments out of your kids using Google Sites. Right now in this time where it's hard to assess kids because they're either not in school or they're only in school a couple days, it's how do you give a kid a multiple choice test when they're all at home? All they got to do is text their friends. This is one way where they actually have to put it in and do the work. So this is the portfolio that she did for her class and found it to be very, very successful. So besides a portfolio, another thing you could do using Google Sites is, say you're at the end of a unit and you want to make sure the students have a good understanding of what you just covered. So you just covered a certain topic and you want them to at least know a person or an event that took place during that time. So you assign them a project on Google Sites. So maybe you can assign each kid, one of the articles where they have to make a website page explaining those articles that they were chosen, give pictures of and explanations to why they did it in the first place, and maybe even more modern day pictures of it being used and being in play today, just to kind of get understanding. You can use the Bill of Rights, all 26 amendments. You can use, if you don't want to use the first 10, use all of them. Give each kid the amendment. They make a website showing that amendment. Then they have to present it or share it with the class. If you're in science, whatever topic you're talking about, you give each kid a different term that you use that you want them to know. So you can do it that way as well. So I think my two favorite ones would be the portfolio part and the one I just explained where they can build their own websites based on that historical time period. I mean, if you wanted to do that, that kid could use that same site for all the different things he did for the course of the year. And by the time you're done, he's got a little review sheet on that topic. If you want it to be a little bit more general, where, okay, unit 1, we're covering, this is the Constitution. So his first page is on the Constitution. His second page will cover, the 1800s to Manifest Destiny. So he has that in there, and then all the different time periods and sections that are in there. He can use that for a great review as well at the end of the year. And again, ELA, science, math can even do the same thing as well. I've seen math teachers use Google Sites as well. So if you have any questions on Google Sites, you can always email me at cmanganero@moric.org. And I can walk you through. We'll probably be doing some more courses on Google Sites. We just did one with like 30, 40 people in it, and it went pretty well. So we might put that back on the table again once school starts and we get going again. But having your own website is great because it does open the door between you and the parents. It's less emails you might get from them because everything you do is right out there. The key, though, is if you are going to start out making updates all the time, you might want to keep that consistent because they're going to start expecting it. And when after a couple weeks go by and you haven't done anything, you might get those emails. So try to start out and try to keep the same thing. If you know you want to use it a lot, then update it when you always do. If it's something you might want to update every couple of weeks, start that way so the parents know. And also, if it's just going to be a static site with really no new information going on, just here's all the contact, that's fine as well. And then you just, you put it up there and there's no old news or old information on there. So again, if you do have any questions, I gave you my email. Enjoy the last few days of your summer.